All right, we are back with another Thoughts on a Note. Continue this series. This time we're doing tobacco, and we have a nice little smattering of juices here in front of me. Good combination of full bottles, decants. In one case, I actually had to use body wash because I sold the bottle that I had of that. Niche designer here pretty much runs the gamut pretty well. Done categories again. We have 3 of them, which I will get into shortly. First, let me show you what I have here. I have the Dreamer. We have D&G Pour Homme. This is called Field Notes from Paris by a perfumer called Ineke. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's spelled I-N-E-K-E. This is John Varvatos Vintage. This is the one I sold the bottle of, but I had a travel set, so that's all I have left over. That and some aftershave stuff. This is Cuba Red, very low-level cheapie. D&G the 1, Pure Havane, Tobacco Vanille, Chergui, CK1 Shock, and by Kilian's Back to Black. Now, just a few thoughts before we get into the categories here. Tobacco is actually, in some ways, a misunderstood note. Many who are new to fragrances may only have experience with tobacco from the scent of a cigarette, that kind of musty cigarette smoke smell. That's not what tobacco smells like. Tobacco itself. As we all know, in cigarettes there are a lot of other things, chemicals, tar, this, that, which lead to a lot of that disgusting smell that a lot of people don't like. By itself, regular tobacco is actually very aromatic and can be very pleasing to a lot of people. Some people actually use it as room air freshener because it has a very pungent smell to it. Others who might have been in the game a little bit longer may misinterpret the difference between a tobacco leaf note and a tobacco flower note. Tobacco leaf is what many commonly associate with tobacco. That's the stuff you get in a bag, that you put in a pipe. Tobacco leaves. Tobacco flower is a much more floral interpretation. It does share some similarities of tobacco leaf, but not many. Generally, it's more unisex or feminine, and it will not smell like regular tobacco leaf. Some examples, getting into the categories a little bit here. These are tobacco flower fragrances, or with a more floral tobacco dominant note. Again, they're more feminine. Any of these 3, while these 2 are actually considered, they're classified as masculine, and this one actually is classified as feminine. It's for women. They're really unisex. And if you went up to average Joe on the street, most of them would probably tell you that they're women's perfume, if you didn't say anything else about it. Now, tobacco flower notes, they generally blend well with notes that are citrusy, other florals, very light woods. You look at something like this, the Dreamer, mixes with iris. Forgetting the other notes off the top of my head. D&G Pour Homme, citrus notes. This one does have a little bit more of a tobacco leaf than the other 2, but it still has a very floral tobacco to it. This one, it's got a little bit more to it. There's some bergamot freshness in here. There's a couple of light woods, but this is a very, if you really want to know what tobacco flower smells like, this is it. But again, it does have some citruses in there. It's decent. They can also tend to have a bit of a powdery smell. Obviously, the Dreamer is well known for its powdery smell. This one does come off powdery a little bit, not as much here. And that can turn some people off. This is not the kind of thing, I know some people say that tobacco flower is, that the Dreamer is a very romantic kind of thing, which it can be, but it can also be incredibly off-putting. These are very polarizing fragrances. This category is, there's not a lot of room for gray area. You either love it or you hate it. So tobacco flower, yeah, it does tend to be more romantic. It can be a good date scent. Don't misinterpret me. Not a first date, but somebody who maybe you've been with for a long time and you know that they like different kinds of fragrances. Sorry, I'll keep this on the right angle. That's where this could really be good. This one, if you watch Al Streetsend's video of it, the girl on there absolutely loves it. Says every guy should wear this. I would venture to guess you could find quite a few women who would think just the opposite of this. And the same goes for these. So, my advice on these, if you're going to use them on a date, make sure you know the girl or the guy that you are going out with. Make sure that you know that they are not put off by this. So, tobacco flower, often misinterpreted. We're going to move over here to this category. These are the tobacco leaf. Actually, these two are both tobacco leaf categories. This one here on the left is more kind of uncategorized almost. These are more gourmandish notes. Start with these. The things kind of, what I'm going to talk about with tobacco leaf kind of applies to both of them. But anyways, this genre, tobacco leaf, much more masculine. These, if you're looking for the tobacco scent that you smoke a pipe, you had a grandfather who smoked a pipe, and you're looking for that scent, these are the where you want to go. Don't go over there. Stay here. They mix well with a lot of different kinds of notes. Gourmand notes, oriental notes, aromatic notes. These are the gourmands and the orientals. These are more of the aromatics. Obviously, you have things like vanilla here. You have some cherry sort of fruitiness here. Same with this. This one you have, Chergui, you have some vanilla in there. Honey, a lot of different things. It's not completely universal. I probably wouldn't want to mix these with florals. Maybe, I don't know. Definitely not with a citrus, definitely not with an aquatic. None of these mix with an aquatic. Steer clear. Somebody comes out with a tobacco sport. Christ, run the other way. A lot of these do tend to be more classy scents. They're more gentlemanly. When you think of tobacco, you think of, like I said, your grandfather smoking a pipe. It's a more sophisticated aroma. It doesn't remind you necessarily of, a party or a club or a beach or something like that. It reminds you of, a smoking lounge. So this really would not be something, a high schooler could wear it, but it's not really best suited for that age group. More mature. Again, none of the things I say there's always exceptions to these rules, and they're not rules. There's always exceptions to these statements. Could this be worn by a high schooler? Sure. You could put something like a CK1 Shock on, Pure Havana. These ones in the middle here, if you're a high schooler looking for one of these, I would go for one of the ones in the middle there. Would not go for something like a Tobacco Vanille, a Chergui. These generally are not always the biggest compliment getters. Some of them can be. A lot of girls tend to like that, even though it only lasts for half an hour. But if it's a really sharp tobacco note, like this guy right here, it can come off a little bit too much for some people. So, while they can grab compliments, they're not surefire winners. If you're looking for something that's just going to be a compliment getter, go for an aquatic, go for a light wood. These are more definitive fragrances. When you wear this, you wear these with confidence. You wear these with a very strong sense of yourself. Not a egotistical sense, but a very confident sense. That's where this really lends itself. So, came up with 2 new additions to this little series here, which I think could add some help to some people who might be new to this or who maybe have a lot of experience with this but are looking for something new. First one, it's called the Kingpin. The Kingpin of tobacco. What is the best tobacco that I have? And I'll make the argument that this is the best tobacco on the market anywhere that you can find this guy. Tobacco Vanille. This really is an excellent, excellent, excellent tobacco fragrance. You know, it's rumored that with Daniel Craig when he shot, I get them confused. I think it's Quantum of Solace, not Casino Royale. One of the two, when he was shooting it, and when he was doing his promotional appearances afterwards, that he wore this. I know Tom Ford outfitted a lot of the costumes for the movie. Daniel Craig's suits that he wore were Tom Ford suits, and this was supposedly the scent that Daniel Craig wore. And it really is, if James Bond had a fragrance, this would be it. Very classy, very much that confident man smell, and an excellent, excellent tobacco fragrance. So, the Kingpin Tobacco Vanille. And now, for those who might have a lot of experience in the game, one that you may have not tried, but you really should, is this one. Probably could have guessed that. Field Notes from Paris. I got this when I was in San Francisco, and Inek, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, is a local perfumer in San Francisco, and her bottles are not generally available too many places. They did have it there because she's local, but I was talking with the rep at Nordstrom, and I mentioned that I was, like tobacco fragrances, and she said, you really should try this. Even though it's technically a woman's fragrance, a man can wear this. If you wear the Dreamer, if you wear D&G Pour Homme, you can easily wear this. Is it feminine? Yes, in some ways it is. It does have floral notes to it. It does have some sharp citruses. Well, maybe not sharp citruses like D&G does, but it does have some feminine leanings. But it really should be classified as unisex. And even in a lot of reviews that I read of women who had this, they all said, or many of them said, that they would like to smell this on a man. I've worn it a few times, and it's good. Not necessarily what I was looking for, but if you're looking for something different from this genre, from tobacco, give it a shot. It's not a very well-known house. It's very small. I think she only has 7 fragrances overall. Only 1 is for men. She kind of does, the way she does it is the names of the fragrances go up in the alphabet. So this is F, Field Notes, and the men's one is D. Forgot exactly what the name of it is. I think it's like Daring Do or something like that. But definitely, if you wear either one of these two, give this a shot. It's similar to them, certainly not at all the same. This is not redundant of the other two. And for a niche house, price is pretty good. I think a 75 milliliter bottle of this was under $100, like $90 or so. So worth a look. If you can find a sample of it somewhere, give it a try. So that's that. Tobacco, come to understand it a little more before you make a decision on which to buy. Do you like tobacco flower? Do you like tobacco leaf? Are you looking for a more gourmand? Are you looking for a little bit more aromatic? Figure out what works for you. Tobacco can be great in certain circumstances, a formal event, even a light application at work. Some of these you can wear at work. I wear this to work. I kind of wear everything to work. But, even if you're a kid going to high school, something like a CK1 Shock, which really is not bad. It does not smell like CK1 whatsoever. Even something like a Cher Geek, because it's not as much of a powerhouse. It's a little odd, but not a big one. You really can find something here that works for you. That's the most important thing when you're buying a fragrance in general, and with tobacco. Find what works for you. Even if you're buying blind, do your research. Figure out which of these categories is what you're looking for. All right, guys. Hope that helps you out a little bit. As always, if you have any questions for me, be happy to answer for you. And I will talk to you all soon.